Sherry is our executive director here at AVA, and she has a few words she would like to say. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out and participating in all of the glory of these amazing artists. I'm Sherry Borres. I've been the executive director at AVA for 6 months. Welcome back to AVA if you haven't been here in a while, to our beautiful exhibit that's celebrating 46 artists whose work will be on display through July 1. As you may know, besides exhibitions, there are many things that AVA does, and I hope that you'll join us in some of these activities. We have classes for children and adults. We have free community programs all week long. Artist talks throughout the year. Thanks, Sam organizes all of that. AVA is always open to the public, Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 5. So you should feel free to come visit here anytime and just use this place as your refuge, okay? You don't need to say hi to us in the office. You can just hang out here or in our gardens. In addition to all that, I hope you'll consider becoming a member of AVA with all of its various benefits and helping us celebrate our 50th anniversary as we get into 2023. Can you believe it? AVA will be 50 years old in a few months. I know. So many of those years we were led by Benta, who is here tonight. She did such an amazing job. At any rate, we've been in this building for 32 years. And for all of you who want to continue supporting AVA, we are happy to take your donations, but in particular, we have a matching grant going on right now thanks to Mrs. Dorothy Byrne. So she will match any gifts that we receive between now and December 31st. She will double your gift. So, without further ado, I would like to bring Sam back up, our exhibition manager, who has done an amazing job. Hello, everyone. So, as I said, I'm Sam Eckert, and I'd just like to say what a pleasure it is to hold a juried exhibition this year. This year's exhibition theme, as we tilt towards the sun, invited artists to submit works and themes related to solstice, time, process, change, and new beginnings. The theme was intended to create a conversation between works, aligned with summer solstice, and inject an uplifting tone to what's been a troublesome and dreary COVID-tainted few years. Over 100 artists from New Hampshire and Vermont submitted work. To all the artists who submitted an entry, thank you for sharing your work with us. It's a privilege to be part of your practice. 46 artists were selected, exhibiting 66 works of art. Congratulations on a beautiful show. I'd like to thank the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for ongoing support to AVA and Make Architects for sponsoring the exhibition. Sponsorships are vital to supporting exhibition needs. Things such as paint, wall labels, vinyl lettering, lamps for track lighting, and wine for receptions. Thank you to AVA volunteers for pouring the wine, and thanks to staff friends for all your support to me and the exhibition programs. Special thanks to AVA exhibition assistant Harrison Halaska for his sharp measuring skills and easygoing personality, which makes the installation process fun and nearly effortless. Separately from the juried exhibition, there are 3 artists exhibiting outdoor sculptural works in Kira's Memorial Garden and around Ava property. Nira Granow Fox, Bruce Hathaway, and Blaise Conifal.
Be sure to wander around and take a peek at these magical works. And now, please allow me to tilt towards the sun with my introduction of this year's esteemed juror, Janie Cohen. Janie Cohen has directed the Fleming Museum of Art in Burlington, Vermont since 2002. As a Picasso scholar, she has curated exhibitions and published on the artist in the US, Germany, Netherlands, and Spain. In addition to serving as president of the board of the New England Museum Association, she has served on boards and consulted for numerous arts and cultural organizations in her home state of Vermont. Janie has had an art practice for many years and has been showing publicly since 2016. Thank you, Janie, for your generosity of time and sunny graciousness. Janie will be announcing the 4 Jurors Recognition Awards, including the Cornelia M. Ramelow Photography Prize. Each of the 4 awards include a small stipend and a solo exhibition in 2023. Please welcome Janie Cohen.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you both so much. I'm really, really delighted to be here. And I want to start out by congratulating all the artists in the exhibition and all the artists who submitted work. It was really such a pleasure to work on jurying this exhibition. And I love the topic and how you all responded to it. So it was really, it was a treat. I also just want to remind everyone before I start that curating and jurying are really subjective and creative activities. I was amused, and I was also not surprised when I realized that 3 of the 4 award winners, their work really deals with light, which is always something that's been really important in my life, in my aesthetic life, and in all aspects of my life is light and the way we interact with light. So I want to begin, and I just want to say a few words about each of the artists, and I think we have images with them. So I want to start with Mary Mead and Summer Silhouettes 1. So Mary moves among sculpture, printmaking, and works on paper in a variety of media. Both of her works in the show are from a series of works titled Summer Silhouettes. They were inspired by dappled light both early in the day and at dusk in her garden when the light is very low, when the sun is very low. She writes in her artist statement, quote, "The origins and references in all of my work stem from a familiar experience or object, sometimes with little distance, sometimes with great distance, between the familiar object and its rendering or ability to be recognized. Maybe this has roots in something a painting professor told me as a young artist, which was to consider stopping well before I naturally would. He would say, leave something for the viewer to discover." So in looking at her 2 woodcuts, which are right there, I had this exact experience in viewing the works. I'm always drawn to dappled light myself, to the light coming through leaves. And I realized later that I had recognized the characteristics of that light that are abstracted here before I noticed the title. And I was drawn to the interlocking forms that somehow were familiar to me, and the darks and the lights that almost flickered as they kind of shifted from foreground to background. So please join me in congratulating Mary Mead. So the next award recipient is Ann Cogbill Rose, with texting. And this is acrylic on linen, and it is in the second room back there, right as you enter it, straight ahead. Her other piece is right here. Ann studied at the Corcoran School of Art in DC during the Washington Color School movement in the 1960s. And that movement incorporated flat color, hard edges, and that really focused on the interactions of adjacent colors. She's brought this into her work, which is in large part figural. She also knows that both of these paintings in the exhibition were influenced by the very strong yellow sunlight of Merida, Mexico. She writes, "My work examines the strangeness of today's life. I focus on body language, hands, feet, and personal objects. Some elements are distorted and facial features are simplified. Each subject is immersed in its own private thoughts." So I see all of this in Ann's painting, and I see those elements contributing to a kind of sense of isolation or estrangement of the figures, emphasized by two icons of our time that have and continue to play a role in keeping us apart in many ways. One is the mask and the other is the cell phone. But here again, I realized it was the light that drew me in. And also, for me, it contributed to that same overall mood in the painting of kind of distance and isolation. But in this case, the light is a strong, harsh, and relentlessly revealing light, and she captured it perfectly. It registered immediately for me in both a disturbing and a really compelling way. So join me in congratulating Ann. The third recipient is Travis Paige with the re-entry, a photograph of his and this is the Cornelia Rameau Photography Prize. So a huge thank you also to the donors of that prize. It sounds like you all know this, but I'll tell you anyway. Travis is a photographer of landscape, nature, and wildlife. And in his thematic statement, he writes, quote, "Being drawn to these abandoned scenes as a photographer, I envision how things once were and what they're becoming. I know that one day they, meaning the buildings, will be lost forever. With time, nature will slowly replace what was once theirs." And what struck me in this work, and it is a view through, I think it's the woolen mill rather than the brickworks, I believe, but you're looking into nature through a door in an abandoned building that is graffitied on the inside. So what struck me in it was the contrasting, the brightness of nature, kind of seen through the portal of the darker graffitied interior. But also on closer looking, the similarity in the forms that he's captured, so the kind of the thin branches that form almost a tracery, as well as the lines of the spray painted graffiti that surround it. And they have the same kind of delicate forms. And then also the angle tree of the trunk through the portal that you're looking through, and the abandoned timbers that are also laying at angles within the industrial space. In his statement, artist statement, Travis writes, "Humans relate to the passage of time with the passing of the seasons. Time without the human factor will cause structures to crumble and nature's roots to seek new paths." Congratulations to Travis. And the last award recipient is Ann Saunderson with Spring Longing #2, acrylic on canvas. that is right back here to the left of the first prize winner, right here. Anne writes in her thematic statement, "Early spring is so full of longing for me. As I walk with the dog in the woods, I find myself searching for green, any green that isn't a pine tree. I hope these pieces express that longing." This painting speaks to me of that very liminal moment, and now this is me talking, when dead branches and the first traces of green growth share the messy landscape of the spring. And then here too in this painting, there are 3 boats that look like they've endured a really hard, long winter, and they're longing for spring as well. Anne makes drawings, prints, and paintings, and she writes in part in her artist statement, quote, "I look forward to the days when I find myself moving things around without really knowing what's happening. I always marvel at writers who describe their characters taking on a life of their own, how they don't know where a story is going. I feel much the same about making pictures. It's a crapshoot. When it's going well, it's great. Much of the time it sucks. A slog through mud, but the days when it happens are spectacular and keep me going." And it is clearly happening in this painting. So congratulations, Anne. And I just want to congratulate and thank you all again for persevering with your work and for slogging through the mud to get to those spectacular moments. Clearly there are many of those surrounding us in the galleries, and they do keep us all going. So thank you so much.